You feel that, right? That knot in your stomach, the one that tells you something's off. I used to feel that every single day. My name is Keel, and for the longest time, stress was my constant companion. It wasn't just a bad day here and there. It was a heavy blanket I couldn't shake off. I'd wake up with my jaw clenched, my shoulders up to my ears, and my mind already racing through a to-do list that felt more like a list of potential failures. I tried everything: meditation apps that I'd forget to use, breathing exercises that left me more lightheaded than calm, and journaling that just turned into me writing down how stressed I was. Nothing seemed to stick. It got to a point where my body started to protest. I was getting constant headaches, my sleep was a mess, and I felt tired all the time, even after a full night's rest. My friends and family noticed I wasn't myself. I was irritable, distant, and just flat. The joy seemed to have been squeezed out of everything. I remember one evening I was trying to cook dinner after a particularly brutal day at work. I was just standing there, staring into the fridge, feeling completely overwhelmed. It wasn't about what to cook. It was about everything. I just wanted to crawl into bed and disappear. That was my rock bottom. Lying in bed that night, I realized I couldn't live like this anymore. Something had to change, and it had to be a real, sustainable change. I couldn't just keep slapping on temporary fixes. The next day, I called my grandma. She's one of those people who just radiates calm. She listens, really listens. I poured everything out to her: the stress, the anxiety, the feeling of being completely lost. She didn't offer any quick fixes. Instead, she asked me a simple question: Keel, honey, what have you been feeding your body? I was a bit taken aback. I told her, the usual: coffee to wake up, whatever was quick for lunch, and usually take out for dinner because I was too exhausted to cook. She just hummed and said, your body and your mind are connected. When you're feeding one junk, the other one feels it too. It was such a simple idea, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. I had been so focused on managing my mind that I had completely ignored my body. So I started a little experiment. Grandma gave me a list of foods she swore by for calming the spirit. Things like dark chocolate, avocados, and chamomile tea. I was skeptical, to be honest. How could a piece of chocolate possibly help with my mountain of stress? But I was desperate, so I gave it a try. That first week, I made a conscious effort. I swapped my third cup of coffee for a cup of green tea. I added a handful of walnuts to my breakfast. I made sure to have some salmon for dinner a couple of times. It wasn't a magic cure. My problems didn't just vanish, but something subtle started to shift by the end of the second week. I noticed I was sleeping a little better. I still woke up, but I wasn't waking up with that immediate jolt of panic. My afternoon energy slumps became less severe. I remember one afternoon I was working on a project that would normally have sent my anxiety through the roof, but this time, while I felt the pressure, I also felt capable. I was focused. The mental fog was starting to lift, little by little. It was like the volume on my anxiety had been turned down from a deafening 10 to a more manageable 4. The real turning point came about a month in. I was driving home from work and a song I loved came on the radio. Without even thinking, I turned it up and started singing along at the top of my lungs. Then I stopped mid-chorus and just started laughing. I couldn't remember the last time I had felt that light, that genuinely happy and carefree. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, and I knew in that moment that this wasn't just a coincidence. Changing my diet was changing my life. I was giving my body the fuel it needed to fight back against the stress. It wasn't just about the food itself, it was the act of taking care of myself. Intentionally choosing what to eat was an act of self love. Cooking a meal, even a simple one, became a mindful practice instead of a chore. I started exploring new recipes, trying different herbs and spices. I fell in love with the process. I started sharing what I was learning with my friends, the ones who had seen me at my worst. They started trying some of the tips too, and they felt the difference. It created this amazing ripple effect. We started swapping recipes and encouraging each other. This journey taught me that managing stress isn't about one big dramatic solution. It's about small, consistent choices that you make every single day. It's about nourishing yourself inside and out. It's about being kind to your body so your mind can be at peace. The knot in my stomach. It's gone. Of course, I still have stressful days, that's life, but now I have the tools to handle it. I know how to support my body so it can support me. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It is about finding what works for you and making that conscious choice to put your well being first. This transformation was so profound for me that I became obsessed with the science behind it. I dove deep into nutrition and how certain foods impact our brain chemistry and nervous system, and what I found was incredible. So I've compiled a list of the absolute best, most effective foods that helped me and countless others fight back against stress. These are the powerhouses that I turn to time and time again. If you're feeling overwhelmed and want to start making a real change from the inside out, you're in the right place. I've put together a brand new video detailing the top 10 anti-stress foods that genuinely work. We'll go through each one, why it's so effective, and easy ways to add them to your daily routine. Click the link right here on the screen or in the description below to watch it now. It could be the first step on a journey that changes everything for you, just like it did for me. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on living a healthier, happier life. I'll see you in the next video.